Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Check Me. Let's talk about this Alabama game. Alabama beat Ole Miss 24-10, and it's showing that I think most fans weren't necessarily wowed about or completely excited about, but they're happy we got the win. General Milroe was mildly efficient, 17 for 21, 225 yards, one touchdown, one interception. We know he was most dangerous on the ground. 16 carries, 28 yards. And then, of course, Jace McKellen and Roydell Williams seem to be switching back and forth as far as who's going to be the main featured back. Jace was obviously hot, so he had the hot hand. So took most of the carries, 17 for 105. Our receivers were pretty. Jalen had a lot of receivers, which I think shows progression throughout him understanding the offense. The first half was not the half that we wanted to see, and it was pretty much covering some of the things I discussed and talked about how Jalen Milroe in the pocket, he gets very comfortable in the pocket, but he just kind of forgets to throw the check down routes. And of course, we played a feisty Ole Miss team. Of course, when it's SEC play, it's always gonna be tough. This could have easily went a different way since we were at Alabama. But I essentially want to come out and say there was growth during the game. There was growth for Jalen Milroe during the game. I think from the first half to the second half, he came out a little bit better. I don't think he necessarily did anything different, but one thing I think he did well, a little bit better, was just protecting the ball when it came to being more decisive when it comes to running the ball, as well as when to throw it away. Those are two things that are going to help Jalen Milroe just be better as a quarterback, being able to make that decision quicker with where he is good at, and then the later, as far as what he's not good at, is passing the ball in the middle field, intermediate, medium, and then deep ball routes where he can get better at. Now, throughout the game, I think we were frustrated with what we saw going into halftime. No doubt, right? Left a lot of points on the board, down by 1 point. The offense got into the red zone. He threw a pick. And it was almost like he threw an interception in the last game. He zoned in on the deeper intermediate routes. When Jalen Milroe has a good pocket, he did good pocket, he does well. He's used to standing in the pocket longer because the game is a little bit too fast for him. Routes have to progress. He's hitting guys deep. He has a strong arm. So we tend to see him hit the deeper routes rather than the quicker routes. Where his game could be better is if he starts to take his check down. I think we all saw on that. I think it was the third down. He went through his progression. He was in the pocket for a while, went through his progressions, and then he hit. I think it was Jace McKellen on the back for a pass for a first down. But it took him a while to get to that progression and read. If he gets better at that, goes to that quicker, he can have more of a pro style offense where he's making decisions. Where Jalen Milroe is not good at is when he has to make decisions himself. If you watch him in the pocket, it takes a long time for him to understand how defense is moving until the routes are pretty much gone or they're not open. There's short windows where receivers are open, and the opportunity for him to hit them had to be right there. I had a good buddy of mine who sent over a clip on Instagram about how Jalen Milroe can do better. Is having like an RPO style offense where, hey, look, if the backer's over here after you get them at the mesh point, if you see him slightly outside or slightly inside, you throw it here. If he's not, give the ball. And when you do, it's predictable. But if you do that, it makes Jalen Milroe not think. They're trying to make Jalen Milroe a intermediate, mid and downfield passer. And I'm not talking about just a deep ball. A downfield passer is standing in the pocket, 3-4 seconds, getting the ball out, before then, not just staying in the pocket and expecting the offensive lineman to block forever and then making a play. That's when penalties come. But I think that we did see some growth. I think we need to expand on it. And if whoever the quarterback's coach is needs to say, Jalen, stop looking for the deep ball every time. Right? Scan the field. Understand how defense moves. When he threw that interception in the red zone, throw your short route. You don't have to gamble and get it all. He's used to the big. Him and Carson Wentz have the same exact problem. Most quarterbacks. Kyler Murray has the same problem. You don't have to get the big game every time. Throw your check down. It's okay to get those 3-4 yard pops. And I told you guys, Jalen's our best option. If it wasn't for his legs, and your legs only work for a certain while, especially in the SEC, right? The legs only work for a certain while. And I'm not sure who we have next, but yeah, Mississippi State. Mississippi State, it may work. A&M, it may work. Arkansas, it may work. But when you get to the better teams, right now, looking at the schedule in the SEC East, I think that his legs can get him away. But you got at Mississippi State, you got at A&M, and fortunately LSU and Tennessee are at home, but you got at Kentucky and at Auburn that last game of the season. So when you go into these environments, the crowd can't push you through it. The crowd was ultimately dead going into halftime. There was a lot of confusion. I think we were transfixed. But we did see growth in Jalen Milroe, and that's the big thing. I think that's a huge plus. Take what you learned from week 3, take it to week 2. And if we see the week-over-week progression with Jalen Milroe, he can be ready by the time it's college football playoff. I think we put Alabama back on the map. I think the defense really showed up against a quarterback who I think is a polished quarterback in Jackson Dart, who has legs as well too. They're winning. They're winning at point of scrimmage. The defense line was getting pressure. Dallas Turner is becoming a household name to be a top pick in the draft this year. I think we heard a lot of his name for the past 2 years, but now for him, I think he's really starting to come on as that premier defensive guy. He's being smart. He's creating trouble for most quarterbacks and offensive lines. And of course, Terry Arnold, I think, who plays alongside Kool-Aid, who was phenomenal this game. He did a really good job of being in position and not using his hands, being on top of routes, the goal line, pass deflection, the interception. And you got to think this guy's an athlete. So when he gets the ball, it's almost like a punt return for him. Yak, spin move. So I think Terry Arnold did a really good job. If this Alabama secondary just continues to play together, they're going to be the best. I think it's the best secondary we can see for a while. With Kool-Aid, Malachi Moore, Caleb Downs, Jalen Key, this is a really, really good secondary. If the defensive line starts to get pressured like they did this game, it's going to be a trouble. The SEC's going to be in trouble, just because that secondary can cover. They can cover for a while. Some of those sacks were covered sacks, and I'm happy to see that as well too. So, good win for Alabama. Not necessarily relying on turnovers. The special team stepped up as well. Will Riker was automatic, 48-yard field goal, 3 for 3. So I think that the things Alabama as a whole is solid. And I think the receivers are good too. I just think that they're not getting as much opportunities because our quarterback play is not the best. But overall, I think it's a positive week-over-week progression. We want to see Jalen Milroe get better every week, and not just as a runner but as a passer. But him being decisive as far as throwing the ball away and then taking off and running will help the passing game. And if he does those small things good first, the other things when it comes to intermediate, mid, and deep downfield passing, I think he'll get better at. So good win. Week-over-week progression is the main thing we're looking at here.